Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and dear colleagues. Listening to the arguments of those who are in favor of this intervention, this operation, it seems that there is only one single argument, which is Turkey is fighting terrorism, right? This is the only argument that you have. I think in order to convince the international community, you should be developing more convincing arguments. Why? So in Turkey, over the last 2 years, tens of thousands of people were sent to prison under the guise of fighting terrorism. And these people include members of parliament, elected Kurdish mayors, journalists, civil society representatives, human rights activists. Almost anybody who is critical of the Turkish government is a terrorist. In fact, when this very parliamentary assembly included Turkey back into the monitoring process, representatives of the government were saying that the parliamentary assembly was supporting terrorism. So that is why we need to go beyond this terror talk. As a member of the HDP, an opposition party in Turkey, I can tell you this much. There is no fight against terrorism in Turkey. There is no fight against terrorism even in Syria. Under the guise of fighting terrorism, the Turkish government is fighting against a people, the Kurdish people, who are native to the Middle East and who are trying to develop an autonomous political existence amidst this crazy political turmoil, chaos, and violence in the Middle East. In fact, President Erdogan himself said repeatedly that Turkey would do whatever it can to prevent the formation of another northern Iraq in Syria, meaning we are not going to let the Kurds to create an autonomous self-administration in Syria. This is the problem. It has nothing to do with terrorism. Because if it is the fight against terrorism, then my question to those who are in support of the Turkish government's arguments is this. In 1 year, if you can send more than 70,000 people to prison on charges related to terrorism, the problem is not with your citizens. The problem is with your country and your government, because Turkey is constantly producing terrorists, real or imagined. So in that sense, I would like all the colleagues to deconstruct this particular argument that Turkey is fighting against terrorism, because now anti-terrorism is being used as the very discursive medium to criminalize dissent and to attack anybody who is not thinking like the Turkish government. Unfortunately, President Erdogan has started his campaign for the presidential elections by invading Afrin. That is the crux of the argument. Thank you so much.